Surface chemistry. Now we will study about the various topics such as colloids, classification of their colloids, preparation of colloids, purification and properties, emulsion, preparation of emulsion and application of colloids. First of all, we should know what are colloids. As we all know that the solutions are homogeneous systems, such as if we dissolve sugar into the water, it gives a homogeneous system. While if we add sand in water, we obtain that sand is not completely dissolved in water and it gives a suspension. And these sand particles slowly settles down after some time. Between the two extremes of suspension and solutions, we find a large group of system that is called as colloids. So, colloids is a heterogeneous system in which one substance is dispersed phase as very fine particles in another substance called dispersed medium. As in case of the true solution, we take two phases. One is the solid and another one is the solvent. But in colloids, we take dispersed phase and dispersed medium. Dispersed medium means it can be compared with the solvent as in case of the solution, and dispersed phase means solid. So colloids is a heterogeneous system in which one is the dispersed phase and another one is the dispersed medium. So in case of the colloid, the particle size lies between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. It means that is intermediate between the true solution and suspension. So colloidal state is in fact intermediate state between true solution and suspension. So the size of the particles lies between that of the true solution and suspension. And in case of the true solution, solute and solvent, while in case of the colloids, dispersed phase and dispersed medium. We can distinguish between true solution, suspension and colloids. First of all, nature. Nature of the true solution is homogeneous and suspension is heterogeneous. Colloids appears to be homogeneous but actually it is a heterogeneous. And solute particles in true solution are molecules having size less than 1 nanometer, while in colloids the particle size in colloidal solution lies in the range of 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. And in case of the suspension, the size of the particles in case of suspension is greater than 100 nanometer. So you can see that in the colloids, size is intermediate between true solution and suspension. Sedimentation, in case of the true solution, the solid particles do not settle. In case of the suspension, they settles on standing. It means after some time they will be settled down at the bottom. And colloids, they do not settle. Diffusion, in true solution they diffuse quickly. Suspension, unable to diffuse. And in the colloids, they diffuse slowly. Visibility, the solid particles are invisible to the naked eyes as well as under the most powerful microscope. So it means they are invisible. And in case of the suspension, solid particles are visible even to the naked eye or can be seen with the help of a microscope. While in case of the colloids, solid particles are invisible to the naked eye, but their scattering effect can be viewed with the help of microscope. Next, that is the filtrability. The solid particles in the true solution diffuse rapidly, pass through a parchment paper as well as through the filter paper. While in case of the suspension, solid particles in the suspension cannot pass through a parchment paper or a filter paper. And in colloids, the solid particles in the colloidal solution do not pass through a parchment membrane but pass through a filter paper. And the appearance of the true solution, it is clear and transparent. Suspension, it is opaque, while in the colloidal solution it is translucent. Classification of the colloids, there are various criteria for the classification, that is physical state of dispersed phase and dispersed medium, nature of interaction between dispersed phase and dispersed medium. So that is the classification based on physical state of dispersed phase and dispersed medium. There are 8 types of the colloidal systems on the basis of dispersed phase and dispersed medium. First, dispersed phase solid, medium is also solid. Such type of the colloid is called as solid sol. For example, colored glasses. Second one is the dispersed phase is solid and dispersed medium is liquid. Such type of the colloid is called as sol. For example, paints. If dispersed phase is solid and dispersed medium is gas, such type of the colloids are called as aerosol. Example, smoke. If dispersed phase is liquid and dispersed medium is solid, they are called as the gel. For example, jellies. Dispersed phase is liquid and dispersed medium is also liquid. Such type of the colloids are called as emulsion, as milk. And if dispersed phase is liquid and dispersed medium is gas, such type of the colloids are called as aerosol. An example is the fog, mist, etc. Both are aerosol. In the aerosol, dispersed medium should be gas. This is also gas, and in this case it is also gas, but dispersed phase is different. In this case dispersed phase is solid, and in this case dispersed phase is liquid. And if dispersed phase is gas and dispersed medium is solid, that is called as solid sol. For example, pumic stone. And dispersed phase is gas and dispersed medium is liquid, that is called as the foam. For example, soap, leather, that is the phase is gas and medium is liquid, and it is also called as the foam. It is not solid salt, that is the foam. Next criteria, classification based on nature of interaction. On the basis of nature of interaction, first is the lyophobic salts. Lyophobic salts means they are solvent hating colloids. When the metals and the sulfide simply mix with the dispersed media, they don't form the colloids. And such type of the colloids are irreversible, and they need stabilization to preserve them. Examples such as colloidal solutions of gold, silver, ferric hydroxide, arsenic sulfide, etc. While the lyophilic salts, lyophilic means solvent loving, and they can be formed directly, such as gum. When it is dissolved in water, it gives the lyophilic colloid, and they are reversible in nature. For example, gum, starch, etc. Next, classification based on type of particles of dispersed phase. They can be multimolecular colloids, macromolecular colloids, and associated colloids. In this type, multimolecular colloids, the colloidal particles are aggregates of atoms or small molecules with particle size less than 1 nanometer. For example, gold sol consists of particles of various sizes which are cluster of several gold atoms. And also sol of sulfur, it consists of colloidal particles which aggregates as acid molecules. Acid molecule, that is also multimolecular colloids. It means they consist of aggregates of large number of atoms or small molecules, but condition is that whose diameter is less than 1 nanometer. They are multimolecular. In this type of colloid, macromolecular colloids, colloidal particles are themselves large molecules having the dimensions of colloids. and they have very high molecular masses. The naturally occurring macromolecules such as starch, proteins, cellulose, etc. are the macromolecular colloids. And artificial macromolecules consist of polymers such as polythene, plastics, polystyrene, etc. And third type of the colloid, that is associated colloids. So the associated colloids at low concentration behave as a normal strong electrolytes, but at higher concentration they exhibit colloidal state properties due to the formation of micelles. It means that there are certain substances which behaves as normal strong electrolyte at low concentration, but at higher concentration they exhibit colloidal behavior due to the formation of aggregated particles. Such colloids are called associated colloids. For example, soaps and detergents. So the formation of micelle takes place only above a particular temperature. This particular temperature is called as Kraft temperature, and above a particular micelle concentration, that is called as CMC, critical micelle concentration. Difference between multimolecular, macromolecular and associated colloids. They are formed by aggregation of large number of atoms or molecules with diameter less than 1 nanometer. Macromolecules formed by large sized molecules. Associated colloids formed by aggregation of large number of ions in concentrated solution. Multimolecular, lyophilic in nature, macromolecular, lyophobic in nature, associated both lyophilic and lyophobic in nature. Molecular mass in multimolecular colloid is intermediate. In macromolecular, high molecular mass. In associated, high molecular mass. In the multimolecular colloids, they are held by weak van der Waals force of attraction. In macromolecular colloids, they are held by strong van der Waals force. Associated colloids, van der Waals force increases with increase in concentration. The preparation of colloids. Colloids of the lyophobic salts. They can be prepared by various methods. First is the condensation method. In the condensation method, particles of atomic or molecular sizes are included to form aggregates having the colloidal dimensions. Means particles of atoms or molecular sizes are induced to form aggregates. Oxidation methods. They can also be prepared by oxidation method. So a colloidal solution of sulfur can be prepared by passing hydrogen sulfide into a solution of sulfur dioxide in water or through a solution of an oxidizing agent. So by the oxidation method, Colloids of sulfur can be prepared by simple oxidation of hydrogen sulfide. By reduction method, a colloidal solution of metals such as silver, gold, platinum can be prepared by reducing its salts with a suitable reducing agent such as stannous chloride. So, colloidal salts of metals can be prepared by reduction method. Hydrolysis method. This method is used to prepare hydroxides and oxides of the metal which are electropositive such as Fe, aluminum, etc. So they can be prepared by adding ferric chloride into boiling water. And double decomposition method. A colloidal sol of arsenious sulfide is obtained by passing hydrogen sulfide into a solution of arsenious oxide in distilled water. So by the double decomposition of colloidal sol of arsenious sulfide can be prepared. Next is the exchange of solvent. Exchange of solvent means when a true solution is mixed with an excess of other solvent. When a true solution is mixed with an excess of other solvent in which the solid is insoluble but solvent is soluble, a colloidal solution is obtained. For example, when a colloidal solution of sulfur in alcohol is poured in excess of water, a colloidal solution of sulfur is obtained. Preparation of lyophobic salts dispersion method, mechanical disintegration, peptization, mechanical disintegration by vigorous mechanical agitation. That may be mechanical dispersion or electrical disintegration, that is called as Bredig-Sarg method. And third one is the peptization method. In mechanical dispersion method, in this method, the coarse suspension of the substance is brought into a colloidal state in the dispersion medium by grinding in a colloidal mill. So the colloidal mill contains two metal discs and close together, rotating with high speed. When the suspension particles are torn off to the colloidal side, that is the mechanical dispersion. And second is the, in the dispersion method, second is the Bredig-Sarg method. In this Bredig-Sarg method, this process, it involves dispersion as well as condensation. In this method, colloidal solutions of metals such as gold, silver, platinum, etc., they can be prepared by this method. In this method, electric arc is struck between electrodes of the metal immersed in the dispersion medium. So the intense heat produced vaporized some of the matter, which then condenses to form up particles of the colloidal size. That is the Braddock's arc method. Third one is the peptization. In the peptization method, peptization, how can we define? It may be defined as the process of converting a precipitate into colloidal form by shaking it with dispersed medium in the presence of a small amount of electrolyte. That is the process of passing precipitate into colloidal particles on adding suitable electrolyte, that is known as peptization. Now purification of colloids. So the purification, dialysis method, electrodialysis method and ultrafiltration method. In dialysis method, the colloidal particles are separated from the impurities by the process of diffusion through a parchment membrane. Electrodialysis, this is type of the dialysis, special type of dialysis, and which is accelerated by the application of potential differences across the membrane. So in this case, ions migrate faster than the colloids. Next method of purification is the ultrafiltration method. In this process, the colloidal particles are separated by the process of filtration through a filter paper, and which is impregnated with gelatin or collodion followed by the hardening in formaldehyde. So in this ultrafiltration method, colloidal sol is placed in a high-speed centrifugal machine. So on centrifuging, the colloidal particles settle down. The impurities remain in the centrifugate and are then removed. The settled colloidal particles are mixed with water to form colloidal sol again. These are the three methods for the purification of colloids. Now properties of the colloids. Tyndall effect, that is the optical property. So when a beam of light, it falls into the colloidal solution, as you can see in this diagram, it is true solution and it is sol. So in this case, in the sol, that is colloid, you see that it gets illuminated, while in case of the true solution it not gets illuminated. It is get illuminated due to scattering of light due to the colloidal particles. So that is called as the Tyndall effect. It means the illuminated path of the beam is called Tyndall cone, and this Tyndall effect can be seen only into the colloids, not in the true solution. So this gets illuminated in the dark room. So this is the Tyndall effect, that is the property of the colloid. Next property, that is the Brownian movement. So this zigzag motion of the colloidal particles in the colloidal sol, that is called as the Brownian movement. This is the Brownian movement. Next property is the electrophoresis. Electrophoresis means movement of the colloidal particles under the influence of electric field. That is called as the electrophoresis. These colloidal particles may be positive or negative. So they move towards the opposite electrode. So this movement of the colloidal particles under the influence of electric field, that is called as electrophoresis. Electroosmosis. It means the molecules of the dispersed medium are allowed to move under influence of electric field. Next is the coagulation. Coagulation is the next property. The coagulation, it means the process which involves coming together of colloid particles so as to change into large size particles, which ultimately settles as a precipitate or can be float on the surface. It is generally brought about by addition of electrolyte. So that is called as coagulation or flocculation. So the precipitation of colloids through induced aggregation by the addition of some suitable electrolyte, that is called as coagulation or flocculation. The minimum amount of electrolyte that must be added to 1 liter of a colloidal solution so as to bring the coagulation is called flocculation value or coagulation value. So smaller is the flocculation value, greater is the coagulation. Based on this, there is one rule, that is Hardy-Schulze rule. The coagulation power of an electrolyte increases rapidly with the increase in the valency of cations or anions. So in this example, aluminum chloride having +3 valency, barium chloride having +2 valency, sodium chloride having +1 valency. So greater will be the charge. Coagulation power increases rapidly with increase in the valency of cations or anions. So in this case, it's having +3 valency, so coagulation power is greater in case of the aluminum chloride. In the same way, phosphate ion having 3, sulfate 2 and chloride having 1 charge. So the coagulation power will be maximum in phosphate ion. Emulsion, that is a colloidal dispersion of one liquid in another immiscible liquid, that is known as emulsion, such as milk. And emulsion may be of the two types, oil in water and water in oil. Oil in water, where oil is dispersed phase and water is dispersed medium, that is milk. Water in oil, where water is dispersed phase and oil is dispersed medium, for example cream and butter. Cleansing action of soap. The soap contains a non-polar carbon end that dissolves in non-polar fat or oil, and a polar end that dissolves in water. You can see in this diagram. Soaps are, what are soaps? These are the sodium salts of higher fatty acids, that is fatty acid chain. They are soap molecules. That is the polar end and it is the non-polar end. So the dust and soap molecules form micelles that dissolves in water and are washed away. The soap form a precipitate with ions in hard water. Because hard water, they contains salts of bicarbonates and chlorides and sulfate, calcium bicarbonate, calcium chloride, calcium sulfate, magnesium bicarbonate, magnesium sulfate, magnesium chloride. So due to presence of these ions in hard water, so form precipitate with ions in hard water. There are some applications of colloids. It can be used in rubber plating, sewage disposal, smoke screen, purification of water, cleansing action of soap, in medicines, and formation of deltas. Formation of deltas means that the river water is a colloidal solution of clay. River water is a colloidal solution of clay. Sea water contains electrolytes. So when river water meets the sea water, the electrolytes present in the sea water coagulate the colloidal solution of clay, resulting the formation of deltas. So its application is the formation of deltas in photography and in artificial rain. These are the applications of the colloid.